this video, we're going to be installing and configuring OpenNMS. That's Open Network Monitoring Software 33, version 33, specifically 33.1.8. And we are running on Fedora Linux, a fresh installation with all of the latest updates applied. And we're also running in a VirtualBox VM. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is download four packages or 4 RPMs that we'll be using to complete the installation. So let's go ahead and begin with that. So we'll do a sudo wget yum.opennms.org stable rel 9 jicmp dash 3.0.0-1.el9.x86_64.rpm. And just to be clear, we're using a Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9 rel 9 packages because the Fedora packages are out of date and they don't install properly on this version of Fedora. The rel 9 packages install just fine, so that's what we're using. All right, so let me go ahead and hit enter here. Hopefully I've typed everything correctly. And yes, we're successful. Let's do an ls real quick just to show what we're looking at. Okay, our next step is to download or edit this path and add a 6 to the JICMP and download that file. Good. All right, our next step is to move on to the next repository, which is vault.opennms.com and Horizon 33.1.8 RPM. See Open NMS web app Jetty 33.1.8 1.noarch.rpm. Let's go ahead and see if I typed this correctly. Looks good to me. And one file downloaded successfully. All right, and in this same repository, let's download the OpenNMS core RPM core file. So let's do OpenNMS-core 33.1.8-1.noarch.rpm. This is a larger file, so this will take a minute for it to download. And there we go. Well, actually pretty quick. Yeah, this is actually pretty quick. All right, for 645 megs. Okay, so that's it for our these 4 packages or RPMs are required for us to be able to successfully install and configure OpenNMS 33.1.8. And we also need to download the proper version of Java, which is Java 11, OpenJDK 11, that this install uses. So let's go ahead and do a sudo, and we're just going to go ahead and install it directly. We don't need to download an RPM-y install java-11-openjdk.x86_64, and we'll go ahead and hit enter. And we use the -y, which automatically responds to the prompts that we would normally get if we didn't use that. So this should be relatively quick, this installation. Okay, we're complete. So let's wonder if I can do this. Yep, Java version 11. So we're good. Go ahead and do a clear. And let's do an ls on our folder here. So let's go to the next step, which is installing each one of these. So let's just go down the list. We'll do a regular DNF just to see how this process works. And the first one is the JICMP 3.0. Yes, and complete. The next one is the version 6. So we'll go ahead and do that. Yes. And then we have OpenNMS core. It's also yes. This one might take a little while. This is the larger file that was downloaded, so it shouldn't take too long. If it did take longer, then I would pause and then come back afterwards, but I think we're good just sitting here waiting. And complete. All right, and then our final file, let's do an ls again. Our final file is the web app Jetty RPM. So let's go ahead and select this file and install that. Yes, and complete. So we've successfully downloaded and installed the packages we need to complete this installation. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step, which is actually configuring the rest of the system components. Right, so let's go ahead and clear this screen before we get started on the next step. Let's focus on our screen here, our terminal. Okay, so in this next step, we're going to be setting up the database server, and we'll be using PostgreSQL version 16. So let's go ahead and begin doing that. Let's do a sudo dnf install langpax -en and libc all, and then langpax. Yes here at the prompt, and complete. Our next step will be to set the locale. So let's do a locale control set locale lang equals en underscore us dot utf8, and we'll hit enter. And now let's go ahead and check that out. Let's do a sudo locale control and hit enter. So we're set with the proper settings there. And do a sudo dnf make cache complete. All right, our next step is to do actually install the database server itself. So let's do a sudo dnf -y install PostgreSQL 16 server, and I believe that is correct. Yes, so we'll hit enter, and it's doing an auto install because I used the -y to automatically answer the prompts. So we're good there. So the next step is to create our database user. So let's do we're actually to initialize the database. So let's sudo user bin PostgreSQL -setup initdb, and hit enter and complete. All right, now we're going to create our users. So we'll do a sudo -i-u Postgres create user -P, and this will be OpenNMS, and enter. We'll enter a password. In this case, we're going to use password as our password just for simplicity because this is just a demo. It's not going into any kind of production. Repeat the password. Let me see. What did I do here? Let me see. Let me do a enable now PostgreSQL. All right. Now let me do a status on that. And it is running, so let's go ahead and run that command again. Password for the password, and it works. So you need to make sure the database is running after install, and we just set the enable option in the system control to make sure that the PostgreSQL service runs automatically if the system reboots and all of that. I've explained all that before, so don't need to go through it again. All right, now our next step is to create a database. So let's do a sudo -i-u Postgres create db dash capital O open NMS and open NMS. Complete. All right, let's do alter the password for our Postgres user. So let's do sudo -i-u Postgres psql-c quote alter user Postgres with password single quote and the password we're going to set, and do our closed quote. We'll do a semicolon and we'll do our ending double quote. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Alter role. That's successful. Okay, on this next step we're going to encrypt our passwords for our database connectors. So we'll do a sudo-u open NMS opt open NMS bin service client. I guess that's what that stands for. Set Postgres open NMS and password. All right, so that looks like that was successful. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing with the admin password. Dash admin password. Hopefully this is all. And that looks like that was successful. All right. Our next step here will be to edit our OpenNMS data sources XML file. So we'll do a, let me clear this first. We'll do a sudo-u OpenNMS vi opt OpenNMS etc and then OpenNMS data sources.xml. All right, so we have 3 entries here that need to be updated. So this is our password line for our OpenNMS user. So let's go ahead and change this to password, which is what we set that to. And then we have our OpenNMS admin. And there's no password here, so we can just insert that after this piping symbol. So password, and we'll do the same thing down here with the OpenNMS monitor. Then we can do an escape, :right quit, exclamation point, enter, and we're complete editing that file. All right. And at this point, let's go ahead and do a reboot. We'll do a init6, which is reboot, and we will return when the system comes back up. Whoops. Space. Right, so our next step before we complete our installation is we need to edit a file, and that will be the pghba.conf file. So we need to do a sudo vi, and that is varlib pgsql data, and then pghba.conf. There we go. So we have 2 entries here, 2 host entries for IPv4 and IPv6. We need to change the method to MD5. So let's go ahead and do a IPv4 first. So we'll do a YYP to duplicate that line. We'll go up and comment the first one out. And then we'll go across here and change this to MD5. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing with this IPv6 entry. YYP, comment out, pinned MD5. Okay, and let's go ahead and, just for the heck of it, let's go ahead and do a system control restart PG or PG PostgreSQL. We'll go ahead and do a status on that to make sure we're up and running. And looks like we are. So, okay. Now our final steps are to complete the OpenNMS installation. So we'll do a sudo opt OpenNMS bin install and -dis. This will import all of the tables into the database and all of the rest of the configuration that needs to be completed. So we'll hit enter, and it looks like it's working. So I think we'll just sit here and watch rather than pause and come back when it's complete, so we can see what it does. So I don't think it's going to take that long. And upgrade completed successfully. It's not an upgrade, it's a regular install, but whatever. Okay, now that's the final steps for the actual software itself. Our next steps will be to open ports and do other system-related configurations. So first thing we need to do is do a sudo system control enable OpenNMS so that this automatically starts up if the system reboots or goes down and comes back up for whatever reason. There we go. Our next step is to open the firewall. Firewall command, add port. The port this listens on is 8980, the web interface, and this is TCP, and we'll make this perm so that when we reboot it doesn't wipe it out in the firewall. It'll stay that setting. And go ahead and hit enter. Success. All right, and let's do a reload. So we'll do a reload of the firewall D service. Complete. Let's do a status of OpenNMS. I don't believe it's running yet. Confirm. And no, it is not. So Control C out of that and do a start. Start OpenNMS and enter. Give it a minute to start up. This takes a little while. All right, we're good. Now our next step will be to open a browser, and we will type in our URL. So we'll do this IP address for this instance is 54, and 8980 is the port. So let's go ahead and hit enter. 54. Is it 54? Yes. And this could still be booting up. Okay, so we're at our screen, our login screen. The default for this is admin, the default login. So let's go ahead and connect. And we are not going to save our credentials for now. Let's go ahead and skip. In the real world, you would change this. So in this case, we're not, because this is just a demo. We hit skip. And here we are. We'll opt out of this. And here is our new instance of OpenNMS. Version 33.1.8. You go over here, go to help, about, we have version 33.1.8. And you can see here the managing provisioning requests. We have one requisition name, and it's self-monitor, and it's the local host. This automatically adds itself to monitoring when the installation is complete. So that this is the instance that's running OpenNMS. That's automatically taken care of. And now it's ready to go, adding nodes, adding endpoints that you want to monitor, and whatever else you want to do. There's basic service monitoring. Let me see if I can go in here and check this out. There's interface here. You can add services like ICMP, SSH. You can monitor your databases and whatever else you want to do at this level. But you're also able to set up SNMP so that you can receive traps from the systems on the network or in the environment that are set up with SNMP. So we'll be doing that in a later video. And I think that's about it. This is just the installation part. We'll go into other things in future videos. And I hope this is helpful. And please like and subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching.